Hello everybody and happy Friday. It is time for my Friday Read selection, and today we are talking about Look for Her by Emily Winslow. Okay, this is an awesome book. I'm just gonna put it right out there and say it to you now. If you have not read it, you should definitely read it. I gave this one a 4-star review. You can check out my blog post for the details on that, but let's just go ahead and dig right in and read the back description. All right, Lilling might seem like an idyllic English village, but it's home to a dark history. In 1976, a teenage girl named Annalise Wood disappeared, and though her body was later discovered, the culprit was never found. Decades later, Annalise maintains a perverse kind of celebrity and is still the focus of grief, speculation, and for one young woman, a disturbing, escalating jealousy. When DNA linked to the Annalise murder unexpectedly surfaces, cold case detective Morris Keene and his former partner Chloe Froman hope to finally bring closure to this traumatized community. But the new evidence instead undoes the case's only certainty. The buried body that had long ago been confidently identified as Annalise may be someone else entirely. And instead of answers, the investigators face only new puzzles. Whose body was unearthed all those years ago, and what happened to the real Annalise? Is someone interfering with the investigation? And is there a link to a present-day drowning of eerie connections? With piercing insight and shocking twists, Emily Winslow explores the dark side of sensationalized crime in this haunting psychological thriller. Sounds good, right? Yeah. So this one is a whodunit. It's a murder mystery. And it got a review on Amazon by one of my newest favorite authors, and that is Ridley. It got a review from one of my newest favorite authors, which is Riley Sager, author of Final Girls. I read this one a few weeks back and posted a review about it, so if you haven't checked that out, go on down in my page and check out the review of Final Girls. But his review of Look for Her, his comment, his quote on Look for Her is this: Look for Her ratchets up the tension while also offering moments of sheer grace. I could not agree more. Okay, so let's get into this book and my thoughts on this book. The writing. I am not gonna lie, when I started this book, the writing style threw me off a bit. The first chapter is a therapy session transcript. So it is a one-sided story. It's all dialogue. It's a one-sided dialogue conversation. And with that said, instead of getting the two people talking, the therapist and the patient, because it's only the transcript of the patient's dialogue, you don't get to hear what the therapist said, asked, or anything like that. And that was a little odd for me. Annalise Williams, the patient that you're hearing from, she's the first character that we get to hear from in this book. But it's great because the chapters take you through a number of different perspectives. So it grows on you. It's not all one-sided dialogue therapy sessions. With each chapter, you meet a new character, you hear the story through their perspective and get their input. And you get to learn how each of them feels about what is going on, and you really get to relate to these 4 different characters. One is Annalise Williams, who's the patient at the beginning, and then Dr. Lori Ambrose, who is the therapist, and then there's Morris Keene and Chloe Froman. They're the ones working on the case of the missing girl. So once I got into the flow of Winslow's writing style, this was a very fast-paced book, exciting read, and full of adventure and wonder and sitting on the edge of your seat. I loved the twist at the end. No, I won't give it away because I don't want to ruin it for you. It is definitely worth the read, so go ahead and pick up your copy of Look for Her. There's a link down below where you can pick up your copy today, so go ahead and order it. All right, the story, Look for Her, is the fourth book in the Keen and Frauman series, which would have been nice to know when I started reading the book, but I did not know that. I had no idea it was a series, much less 4 books in, and I hadn't read any of the previous series. This is the first book by Emily Winslow that I've actually read, but I picked it up at the bookstore because I love the cover, but we will get to that in a minute. So I knew nothing about it. I knew nothing about the characters, and reading it, I just jumped right in. And honestly, this story is a good standalone story. You do not have to read the previous books in this series to really enjoy this book. I'm not sure even what the first 3 books were about, but I think that anybody could enjoy this one even if they didn't read those 3. It doesn't mean I don't intend to pick up the first 3 books, because I definitely do. I would love to get more in-depth detail on the backstory. This one was great, so I don't expect those to be any less entertaining. Look for Her is a murder mystery thriller. It's not horror. It takes the readers on a journey to solve a cold case when new DNA evidence is discovered, years after the case was basically put to bed because they didn't know what else to do with it. So I love reading stories where criminals kind of think they've gotten away with something, and then years later new evidence pops up and it links them to the crime. I absolutely love that. I'm not going to say what happens in this novel. I'm not going to say who gets caught, who doesn't get caught, who dies, who spills the beans. I'm not going to say anything because I definitely want you to read this book, but the idea of the cold case being reopened is very intriguing to me as a reader, so I hope it is to you. And I do believe that Winslow delivered a really great story with this one. All right, characters. I already told you there are 4 main characters that we get to meet throughout this story. It takes you on twists and turns for each of the characters, not only in the plot, but with the character development as well. And I love how Winslow just kind of weaves the characters' lives together in very unsuspecting ways and ties everything up at the end, which is really beautiful. And there's no foreshadowing to let you know what's going to happen, which is nice. Although I didn't have the benefit of reading the first 3 books, like I said, I started this series right there at book number 4. I didn't feel like I was at a disadvantage when it comes to understanding the characters. Winslow does a beautiful job of feeding the reader little bits of backstory throughout the book without it sounding preachy or overdone or annoying. I am so excited that there are more books in this series, and I definitely plan on picking them up. All right, so the appearance of this book, I said it already, I love the cover. It's simple, it draws you in with kind of a mysterious feel. You know, you get to see the woods in the background and the reflection of the lake down here, but not much more. It doesn't say a lot about what the story is, but it makes you wonder, where did she go? It says, look for her. Who is her and where did she go? Where is she? So it draws you into that woodsy kind of foresty area and makes you wonder, okay, well, where did she go? Okay, so author Emily Winslow is an American author living in Cambridge, England, and she is the author of The Start of Everything, The Red House, and of course, Look for Her. I will go ahead and post a link to my blog down below, and there you can get more information about Emily Winslow, as well as links to all of her books so that you can pick those up as well. Okay, my favorite quotes in this book, because I always have at least one favorite quote. Okay, I have 2 in this one. The first one is, you can't control what other people do, Morris. You can only control whether you deserve respect, not whether he gives it to you. I think that is such a good lesson for everybody. Now, this is Chloe talking to Morris Keene, the 2 detectives, and she is basically saying, all you can control is that you deserve respect, not that people give it to you. And I think that that's a very important lesson for people, because I think we take things to heart sometimes, but you really can't. You don't know what's going on in somebody else's life. You don't know what their perspectives are, but you can only control how you are, whether or not you deserve the respect, and then how they behave is up to them. All right, my second quote is Anna Williams during her last therapy session. So this is part of a therapy session transcript again. And Anna says, "She only became the important Annalise in the eyes of others once she was gone. She became a kind of symbol, a kind of idol to strangers and to me. But she didn't get to experience being that herself. I don't think anyone ever gets to experience being that, even if they're alive and aware that it's happening in other people's minds. That's something you can think about others, but you can't ever be inside of it. When you're inside yourself, you know better." So when I read this, I really thought about the media and how they portray, actors and athletes, and how people idolize them, and how we look at them like they're kind of above everything else, right? We can idolize them, we can look at them, we can do whatever, or however you feel about them, but they're just people too. And although they know that people feel that way about them, they're still just people, and they know themselves just as people. They know where they came from and how they got to where they are, and it doesn't matter what kind of symbolic impression we make of them. They are just people. All right, that is my Friday reads for today. Look for Her by Emily Winslow. Definitely pick up a copy if you have not yet already read it. If you have, comment below and tell me what you thought about it. And if you like this video, please click like and subscribe. If you want to be notified whenever I post a video here on YouTube, click on that little bell down below so that you never miss a video. All right, everybody, that is my Friday Read selection with me, Nina Soden, the Red-Headed Author. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day, and until next time, happy reading.